Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. This is your brother Quadar of GMS Gulf Coast. And I'd like to start by giving infinite honor and praise to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rekak, Wadash. Double honors are given up to the apostle elders of Great Millstone, men who have labored and suffered in this truth for over 30 plus years, making their lives and their bodies a living sacrifice. I also like to send a Shalom to the hopefully elect, the 1/3 of the nation of Israel scattered abroad across the four winds of planet Earth, north, south, east, and west, which consists of men, women, and children in that order. I also like to send a Shalom to the various GMS camps, elders, heads, and last but not least, I'd like to send a Shalom to any of you Akim, not named GMS, but walking one body, one spirit in Yahweh Shai, preaching and teaching this 100% truth as it is taught to us all by the apostles, elders of Great Millstone. To you all, Shalom. Adawan Ratazah, Lord's will this be edifying. Lord will it be edifying. And we're just going to start off with, with the subject matter of the race wars are going to come into faction. Yeah, they're going to come to the forefront of the argument of all these so-called Edomites. I mean, slacky, not so-called Edomites, but these so-called white people who are Edomites, according to the scriptures. Now, the scriptures say, matter of fact, I'm going to grab it real quick. I'm going to grab this real quick just to start it off. I'm going to go to the book of Ecclesiastes, a.k.a. Sirach, and the 12th chapter, and it reads, 10th verse, and it reads, "Never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness." Never trust thy enemies, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself, I'm going to let you see this clip here. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust had not been altogether wiped away. They like to be friendly. That's an act. Unbeknownst to 2/3 of our people, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, that's an act when the white man pretends, because that's just what it is. He's pretending to befriend you, allow you into his political circus, allow you into his society by way of desegregation, quote unquote, giving you civil rights, mind you. That had to be voted for you to acquire civil rights, not your God inalienable rights in which they are granted, these so-called white people, they are granted that in the Constitution. Read it. But you, on the other hand, you have been afforded or given permission or given license to have what they call civil rights. And every 10 years, your your state representative that you send to Washington, D.C. has the vote for you so-called blacks, mainly, to continue in your privilege of having civil rights. So this man is, just like it says in verse 11, it says, though he humble himself, Dr. Martin Luther King was standing right there behind LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, which was the president at the time, via the assassination of John F. Kennedy. But nevertheless, Martin Luther King was standing right there, I think I want to say to his right shoulder there, I don't know. Anyway, he was there during the signing of the Civil Rights Bill. Yeah. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed, be aware, take good heed, understand this, and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou had wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust, his hatred, his wicked evil ways had not been altogether wiped away, because he hid it in a smile. He allowed you to come sit at the luncheon counters via your parents and grandparents, and so you've been smiling and chuckling and every white man ain't bad, ever since. But let's get into the video.
Charlie Kirk comes to the defense of racist white people and says he's on the verge, no longer wanting to help black folks. It is so ironic. Let me take you to the first video.
Okay, so Scott Adams, the founder of the cartoon Dilbert, said, quote, if nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, then that makes them a hate group. Now, I don't love that. I understand the essence of what he's saying, because it's just overgeneralizing. And who's to know if this is the actual sentiment of all blacks in America? It certainly seems like it's heading that way. There is a lot of anti-white sentiment growing there.
Charlie Kirk, I'm going to once again give you a proper education. Number one, why do you think you help black people? Number two, when you decide to contextualize any of this madness into some level of serious conversation, please understand you have now discredited your own proclamation about Dr. King. Was it not you and your people, Charlie Kirk, who said that it was Dr. King that said a man should be judged by the content of his character? You all are talking about general context and not individual character content.
And mind you, that's the oldest trick of dealing with Esau Edom, the so-called white man. If he were to do anything like a Dylan Root, the mass shooting of Columbine, going all the way back to Texas back in the 60s, I want to say it was the 60s, or maybe in the 70s, when that lone gunman, they notice the language they use, lone gunman. He was in that tower at the school's campus, at the college campus, and he took aim and just went to sniping off him. See, this is his history. This is his track record. But mind you, listen to the lingo. Now, these so-called white men will use the talking points of Dr. Martin Luther King, quote unquote, the content of his character. But now, as you've seen him bring out, he contextualized all so-called black people. So if one of us commit a crime, that's the way they are. You understand? They, meaning more, the whole group is like that. But once they commit a crime, he's a lone wolf, controlling the narrative, putting a spin on things. And guess who pick up those talking points? 2/3 of our people, the well-to-do so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Well, he should have this, and well, he should have that. Separating yourself from that group, which he's talking about you. In the whole scheme of things, you well-to-do so-called jakes that feel as though all white folks ain't bad. He's likening you into the whole pie as well. All right, let's go back to it.
A man should be judged by the content of his character. You all are talking about general context and not individual character content. That's not what you're doing. What you are submitting is a very dangerous thing, but you're doing it intentionally. Now, I want to remind you of what this cartoonist said.
What Bible do you read? And how do you know it's the right one? There's only one version.
So if nearly half of all black.
Now, this is who is all centered around. Now, mind you, I personally believe, that they're setting up the stage to, just call it what it is, to ride on so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Because I'm going to read you a bill here, which one of the brothers brought back to my attention. I remember this bill a year or so back. But last night, one of the blood brothers out of the Louisiana camp, in particular, I believe, one of the Louisiana camp had brought this bill, had brought it back to mind. And so, looking at the recent events, the things that have come to the forefront of the of mainstream, not even necessarily mainstream news platforms, just that these distractions are coming to the forefront because, see, Jake by and large is not going to take this for what it's worth. They're setting the stage, and not only that, they're actually getting their legislation, they're getting their paperwork together, so when these things, when they cross that bridge, everything will be already finalized, legal, to do what they deem necessary to you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, mainly you so-called blacks. But like the scriptures say, the day of the Lord shall come as a thief in the night to the majority of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, which make up the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, because you want to turn a blind eye to things and not take things in a serious format and see them for what they are. In other words, you're living in a delusional mind state. You're not living in reality.
But you're doing it intentionally. Now, I want to remind you of what this cartoonist said.
So if nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, according to this poll, not according to me, according to this poll, that's a hate group. That's a hate group. And I don't want to have anything to do with them. And I would say, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get.
Hey, they coming right on out now. They ain't even hiding no more. That rust, you finding out that rust wasn't always wiped away. Well, let's continue listening to this devil.
Go away. Where, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get away. Wherever you have to go, just get away. Because there's no fixing.
Now, mind you, if you go back as far as I do, being a child of the 70s, I grew up in the 70s and my teenage years in the 80s. But I remember when Jake was moving into the neighborhoods, were giving these loans and whatnot, were able to buy homes from doctors and lawyers and whatnot in these different neighborhoods and whatnot. And when we moved in those neighborhoods in the late 70s and whatnot, them neighborhoods were full of white folks, so-called white folks. But as the time progressed, I give it about, I don't know, I would say anywhere from 5 to 10 years, man, them neighborhoods were predominantly Jake, so-called blacks. You had maybe one or two of those so-called white families that hung around, but the rest of them went on in the woods and took what? You heard what he said? They didn't directly take his advice, but this has been the sentiment of these people the whole time. That's the point. Get the hell on away from around them. And when you go back into the history of, not Donald Trump, but Ronald Reagan, he had set forth legislation, what was called trickle-down economics, where they gave tax breaks to the wealthiest, and it would trickle down into the lower classes. But they gave stipends to those who were to give up their homes and whatnot, and would and relocate. They actually put money in their accounts. Now, I'm not making up any of this. You can go back and look at this. Go back and Google that about the Reagan administration, trickle-down economics, and read that fine print where they gave stipends. They used to put X amount of dollars in these so-called white folks' bank accounts for them moving and going in the rural areas, getting the hell away from around so-called blacks. And this has been the mindset of these people as long as I've been living. and beyond that as well. But all it takes is you Jakes to keep up with the records, his track record. He pull you over out there on the corner somewhere. First thing he want is your license, your date of birth, your social. Which those things, your social is supposed to be confidential. You're supposed to give that out. But anyway, he want those things first. Why? So he can check your records. But you so-called blacks, mainly you blacks, tend to excuse or to forgive this man of his track record, or just play as though you have amnesia. But all that's soon to come back and bite you in the ass.
Best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get away. Wherever you have to go, just get away. Because there's no fixing this. This can't be fixed.
And he's correct. It can't be. It can't be. Matter of fact, let me grab a few scriptures real quick. Let me grab a few scriptures. I'm gonna grab these real quick because it can't be. The Lord is gonna come back and set everything awry. You know, everything awry. Let's see. Let me go to. Let me get out of this here. Let me use my other phone here to do. Let's go to first. Let's go to first scripture. Let's go to 2 Ezra chapter 6 and start around about what, the 9th verse, I think. It says, "Said unto me in the beginning when the earth was made, with the borders of the land, over the foundation of praise." Okay, I'm gonna jump down to verse. He said, "There's no fixing this," and he has a point. He has a point. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm gonna pull out of that. Let me go to Ezekiel. I think that'll be a better starting point. Check this out. This is Ezekiel chapter 35 and verse. I'm gonna start at the top, and it reads. This is prophesied against Mount Seir. And it reads, "And Seir is Esau, the land in which Esau used to inhabit." So speaking about those people, these so-called white people that in all the lands sitting damn near at the head of the seats of all these nations. If not, they got their cronies. They got their cronies, their buddies, and anyway, it reads, "Moreover, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee." The Lord is against these people. "And I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate." And Mount Seir, be honest with you, Mount Seir is desolate right now today. If you check out Google Petra or Seir and look at it, you're gonna see architect that actually looks as though you're looking at Washington D.C., the Capitol building, the Pantheon in Rome, those old buildings and whatnot, those columns and whatnot. So these are those same people. It says that I will stretch out my hand against thee and will make thee desolate, most desolate. And I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. You hear what he just said? Huh? See, that's that rust. We started out with Ecclesiastes 12 and 10. Never trust your enemy. Because rust, his rust ain't went away. So he crouch and he come with those smooth, buttery words and whatnot. In the end, he gonna show his true face. And these are those same ancient men acting out, or actually not acting out, but living out their lot here in the present day. These are those same men, those same spirits that cannot love you, that cannot see you as equal, because you're not equal anyway. You're far superior to these people. You know? In a way it says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of thy children of Israel. You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans have shed the blood of the Israelites. They do that right now to the day. Dylan Root went in there and sat in that church there with them folks for hours to, worshiping, fellowshipping. Then in the end, he got up and told them, look, I got to kill y'all because y'all dating the white women. Well, some absurd reason, but it was because of this right here. Because, let me read it again. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. Now, we're going to get into that perpetual hatred when we get into the book of Genesis. Matter of fact, I'm going to grab that. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity and the time that their iniquity had an end. And this can go back to shit. You can actually wind this up to these recent times. It's going back to the Civil War. When they supposedly supposed to free the slaves, then they came up with all this draconian legislation. Dred Scott, where the Supreme Court Taney told Dred Scott that a black man has no rights that a white man is bound to respect. Back in 1858, do your research. Black codes, Jim Crow, and the list goes on and on. But let's go to deal with that perpetual hatred. So let's go to the book of Genesis. And you know what? I'm going to grab 25 first. Let me grab the verse 25 and show you that, no, I'm going to grab verse 27 first. This is Genesis 27. And let's see, Genesis 27. And I'm going to start at verse 41, and it reads. Now, to give you some context, well, matter of fact, I'm going to just start at 38. And this is when our forefather Isaac had given the blessing to Jacob instead of Esau. And Esau was burned up by that. And he's still that way to the day. Because unbeknownst to you so-called blacks, you Latinos, Native Americans, the upper echelons of Esau, Edom, these so-called Jews and whatnot, they understand this history, Maybe the Edomite that lives next to you, the so-called white man or white couple that lives next to you in the same neighborhood, they may not be able to trace this back and understand that hatred that they have for you, or where it's rooted at. But the people who control the planet, they do. And their brothers and sisters, these lowercase Edomites, they don't have the slightest clue why they hate you. They just hate you because your skin color. They give you all kind of reasons why, but it's because of this right here. Anyway, this is verse 38, and it says, and Esau said unto his father, which is Isaac, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shall thou live, and shall serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, the rulership, that thou shalt break his yoke off his neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, in his mind, the days of mourning of my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. And the words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah, and she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, behold, thy brother Esau as touching thee, doeth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee because of that blessing. Because of that blessing. And like I said, the upper echelons of these people understand that to be the case. Now I want to grab something else real quick in the same book. Let's go to 25. And I see around the 23rd verse, I think it is. The Senate of Ishmael. So yeah, 23rd. Isaac's sons. Because Esau and Jacob are the son of Isaac. And it says, let's start verse 20, and it reads, this is Genesis 25 and 20. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian, Padram, the sister of Laban the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren. And the Lord Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? If if this to be the will of the Lord, why is this? What's going on? And when she sent to inquire of the Lord, Yahweh, the Lord Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations, not 1 nation, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. They're going to be separated. So this whole conundrum about, one people, we all Americans, world citizen, it was never to be the case. The Lord even said that us and Esau were to be separated. 2 manner of people, 2 nations that were to be separated. Let's keep going. Yes, it shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And in this case, Esau came out first. So in the end, Esau will serve us. We're coming into that age, into that prophecy now. We're making our way into that now. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that, his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. Now you notice they didn't make any definitive quotation to what color was Jacob, because Esau was abnormal to be born looking the way he looked. He was born red, and these are the people who rule the planet. Look at this man on the screen here. See that tint, that pinkish tint, that reddish in hue. That's Esau. He's not white. You can see the words right down here. Kurt, black people. You see what is engraved in. That's white. Down here at the bottom down here, all that's white. TYT, that's white. But anyway, let's keep going.
I think it makes no sense whatsoever as a white citizen of America to try to help black citizens anymore. It doesn't make sense. It's no longer a rational impulse. And so I'm gonna back off from being helpful to black America, because it doesn't seem like it pays off. Like I've been doing it all my life, and the only outcome is I get called a racist.
Because you are. Okay, let's dissect the ways here. So he literally goes on, self mode. This is so important to tell the world. He's no longer going to help black people, because when he does, he's called a racist. Sir, do you understand how extreme your actions are just doing that move right there? You are literally a Karen, and you are unaware of it. This is
He's no longer going to help so-called black folks, because when he does, he's called a racist. You're only being called that because that's what you are. And mind you, let's keep it all truth and honest. If you're gonna be for your people, hey, so be it. It's be truthful and honest about that. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Just like we should be for ours. The 1/3 on this side of the destruction, at least, because 2/3 of our people have been appointed to be put to death. So they want to hold hand in hand with this devil. But just set the record straight. Hey, he's in his right mind frame to be thinking the way he is, to be carrying on the way he is. It'll be going against prophecy if he was acting any other kind of way.
New thing to do, as if black people needed the help of white men like yourself. The poll he was talking about had nothing to do with hate. It had to do with white bigotry. That's the hate. I'm not okay with white bigotry. I'm not okay with white supremacy. And, sir, I'm not okay with you personally. That doesn't mean I'm a man of hate. But when you declare over half of the black population to be a hate group, when you said nothing about the KKK and other actual hate groups, it shows the sentiment of your character. You have always felt the way you felt in that particular video, sir.
Like the scripture said, and his rust, let's read it again. Let's get it. It says, never trust thy enemy, for like iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself, he help black folks. And go crouching, yet take good heed, and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass. And thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. He has always been this way. You the one who fell for the debauchery, the foolishness. Let's keep going.
The reason why individuals called you racist, even though you may have given money to a charity or two that had a black face connected to it, is because they likely interpreted your heart, which came out that video. There's more. Here, let's put up the Charlie Kirk tweet. These guys are so,
And mind you now, this sentiment is catching steam. It's catching, it's coming, these people are coming on out, they're not inverted anymore. They're overt. They more or less like a Trump. Trump, he wears that as a badge of honor. You know what I'm saying? He speaks it. It oozes out of him. Every word that he say, it hangs on every word that he speaks. And so they're getting bold and they're coming forth with their hatred, with their true hatred for you. I'm no longer going to do this and do that because I'm called a racist. Because you called names, because you've been called a name. How petty and childish. But that's the true spirit of these people. The scriptures do not lie. He has never been a brother to you. He has never taken your best interests at heart. All he seeks to do is to destroy you because of the blessing that was given unto you. And like I said, it goes back to the elites of these people. They fully understand that. Whereas these clowns, they may not. And them they may do, I don't know. But, that old saying, they hate you because you color your skin, and this, that, and the third. They're very ignorant of where this goes. Where this goes back to. Mm-hmm.
They're so fascinating in their ignorance. So Charlie Kirk says, newspapers are canceling Gilbert, claiming creator Scott Adams made racist comments while discussing 26% of blacks don't think it's okay to be white. Damn, wait a minute. Whoa. That is the genesis of their proclamation, right? Well, he has a responsibility to be a cartoonist. Fine. He also has a penalty if he chooses to offer something up for the public record. You get either public praise or public criticism. That's how this works. None of us are immune to that. Every word I say right here, right now, will be either publicly scrutinized and criticized, or some people will agree with it. You wear that every day. I wear that every day. There's more. Are we going to ignore, he said, the fact 12 million blacks think it's okay to hate white people, or just be outraged someone noticed? But that's not what it said, Charlie. There's more. Elon Musk would also agree with portions of Adam's rant. Chris Ferguson posted, Adam's comments weren't good, but there's an element of truth to this. It's complicated. Mainly, we've leaned into identity with predictable results, and power today is complicated. We were on the right path with color blindness and need to return to it.
And need to return to it. Now that's Elon Musk, a multi-billionaire, who make these damn self-driving cars, which ultimately gonna, like the elder Yakinan of the New Orleans camp say, damn car gonna drive your ass to the damn police station you gotta find. It's just a joke. Anyway, I'm gonna bring out another scripture real quick. Let's go back to Ezekiel real quick, 35, and let's read a few more verses in that. And it reads, it says, because thou hast a perpetual hatred. Yeah? We see it come out, because they can't hide it anymore. You know, they see the men of the Lord out there on the highways and hedges. They see the YouTube videos and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? They see the apostle elders bringing forth this truth and these prophets coming to pass. They see it. So they're deemed to stop it. You know, they got to set their heart, you know, we're going to do something about this. You know, it doesn't do us any good to be sitting pretending to be people like we like them. Get the hell on away from around them. Even multi-billionaires, you know what I'm talking about? You buying their products and whatnot. These people are set against us. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by force of the sword in the time of their iniquity, of their calamity, Slakia, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord, Yahweh power, I will prepare to thee, Slakia. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord, Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Seest thou hatest not blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Even blood, since they ain't hated, they going to have to shed it. There's a scripture in Deuteronomy, or Numbers, I think it's Numbers, where it says that the blood of the land is defiled by the blood thereof, and I'm paraphrasing, but the land cannot be, matter of fact, let me grab it, because I ain't doing but butchering it. I think it's Numbers 19, that's 21. Let me see if I can grab this real quick. Perpetual. Let's see. Come on, flip. Let's see. See if I can grab this real quick. It is 19. I can never find that scripture. Ain't that so? Hold up just a second. We finna grab that because we done went there, so we finna grab that. Let's go. Let's see. I was way off. It's Numbers 35, 33. So, real quick, let's get it. Numbers 35 and 33. And it reads, I'm gonna get straight. I'm gonna start at I'm gonna start at verse 31. This is Numbers 35 and 31. It reads, "Moreover, ye shall take no satisfaction for the life of a murderer, which is guilty of death, but he shall surely be put to death." This man gonna be put to death. All these devices, all these snares and traps, and all that crafty counsel, all the things that they have meditated throughout the generations, they're going to have to own up to it. Whether they own up to it or not, they're going to have to pay for it. Anyway, verse 32, and it reads, "And ye shall take no satisfaction for him that is fled to the city of his refuge, that he should come again to dwell in the land until the death of the priest." Now, this is going back into ancient times. Now, it reads right, verse 33, it says, "So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him who shed it." The blood of him who shed it. So the reparations is going to be them. The reparations is them. There's no amount of money or this play money, this fiat currency, this not bagged by anything substance as money can do to change the fate of these people. Blood shall pursue them. Since you didn't have a problem with coming over here putting to death, damn near all of the Gadites, the North American Indian, and then putting them on reservations and pumping them full of alcohol. Because you ain't had no problem with that, building buildings and parking lots and roads and schools and buildings and businesses on the graves of these people, which are our people. You didn't have no problem with shedding blood. Since you ain't had no problem with blood, then it's going to pursue you as well. Anyway, this video went on a little longer than what I expected, so I'm going to close it out right there. Lord, when it was edifying, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High and the Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua. Double honors to the Apostle Elders, Great Millstone. And with that, Shalom.